there, my name is Courtney Kohler, and I am a broker and owner of a real estate company here in Las Vegas, Nevada called Vivid Realty. The purpose of my video today is to talk about hiring a virtual assistant. I'm in several Facebook groups of real estate people, and this was a post that was discussed today, hiring a virtual assistant. Somebody made a post and said that they hired one and they were having a great time with them, and they were super excited to have a really great assistant, and they hired them through an agency. So myself and a few other agents commented that you don't need to hire an assistant through an agency in order to have a good one. And then a few people asked me what my process was, how I found my virtual assistant. So I just decided to create a video because this has been on my list to do for some time now. So this is going to be a short overview of what I did. It's not going to have a lot of details in it. It's just an overview, but I am going to make a whole series of these videos and go into it a little bit more in depth and give some tips and tricks that I found along the way of how to work the best with your virtual assistant, what software I use to communicate, and how we stay a team. So if this is a subject that interests you, please hit the subscribe button so that you don't miss any of my series on virtual assistants. Okay, so when I decided to hire a virtual assistant, I did a lot of research, and I decided that I wanted to hire one in the Philippines because they have a strong grasp of the English language, and generally as a culture, they're nice. People like them. So they have a good grasp of the English language, and I chose that I wanted to do them. So I found a couple of websites, and I settled on online.jobs.ph. Now there's like a free version, but I ended up spending $69 for a monthly access to post my job on there. And at the time I decided to post two jobs. I was going to do a marketing assistant and then like a graphic design, or somebody that could do like video editing, do some of my marketing pieces and that sort of thing. So I actually ran two ads, and I got about 125, 130 applications before I paused my application. I didn't want any more. So that process was a little bit overwhelming, but I'm glad that I did it because I got to really see what was out there. And some of these assistants, people that are looking for jobs in the Philippines, are very, very educated, and they have a lot of knowledge. They've had previous jobs in the industry. For me, I was looking for somebody with some real estate knowledge and experience, but I did a lot of playing on there and found like all sorts of industry experience. So it doesn't, even though I hired mine based on real estate, you can hire one for any industry out there. So in the Philippines, $8 a day is minimum wage. And if you start going through like what I did, what doctors and nurses and lawyers make, you'll find that their incomes are incredibly low compared to American incomes. So that's why it's so nice for a very small business like I have to hire a virtual assistant, because a lot of small businesses can't afford an assistant in American wages. So it is really, really nice to hire somebody in the Philippines because the pay difference is so great. So I did a lot of research because I was very concerned that I didn't want to exploit anybody because it just seemed so low. So for like a month, man, I watched YouTube video after YouTube video, just like on virtual assistants on the Philippines. what things cost. Like, what's a hamburger cost? What's clothes cost? How much is electric? I just went down this rabbit hole that I didn't think I was ever going to get out of, because I was so engrossed in learning about the Philippines, and the reason I did that was because I didn't want to exploit anybody. So that was the major. I didn't understand that. My phone talking to me. So that was the major reason that I didn't go through a staffing agency, knowing that $8 a day is their minimum wage there, and how hard it is to get a job for some people in the Philippines. I felt like going through a staffing agency would exploit them a little bit further. So that is why I didn't do that. Back to my online jobs ad, I put one out there. I had like 125 applications. After I did that, I narrowed it down, because it has a space for them to put how many hours they want to work, what their desired pay is, and I knew that I had a budget that I wanted to stick to. Went through and sorted those applicants out based on the amount of hours they wanted to work and the pay that they wanted, to see which ones matched up. I narrowed it down to about 20 applications, and then I sent them a list of like 10 questions. I kind of judged them based on how they replied, what their answers were, how it was formatted on a page, did it look pretty to me, because these were all things that were important to me. So it wasn't necessarily their answers, it was the way that they lined it up on the page and made it look nice for me, and that sort of thing. So I did narrow it down to a couple of people, and then what I did there was give them like 3 assignments that I paid them for. I didn't ask them to do any work that wasn't paid for. From there, I made a decision on who I hired. So I did like a 3 assignment thing. I paid them for that like immediately as soon as those were turned around. There is like a trust factor that you have to figure in when you hire somebody there. There's a lot of exploitation going on in this industry. It's kind of sad. So I made sure that I paid them for the tests that I did, and then I hired them for a 2-week trial period. After the end of 2 weeks, I offered my current assistant a full-time position. It's been working out really well. I'm not going to say that it's perfect, because I've had assistants in the past and they've always worked in the same office and space with me. So there is a little bit of a learning curve there, but it's not too bad if you know that, things are going to be different. It's not going to be the same. For me, I want my assistants to have a really good job. So I pay for their SSS payment, which is like our Social Security. My assistant, his SSS payment is like $8 a month. So I pay for that. I pay for a paid day off on his birthday. I pay for holidays. And I also give them vacation, because I wanted them to know that they were going to be part of my team and not just simply somebody that I'm pushing work to. That I wanted them to know that they were valuable to me. So that's why I did some of those things. So yeah, that's kind of a brief overview of what I did. I'm going to get a lot more in depth. I will share with you my job application, I will share with you the posting I did for my job. I will share with you some of the bumps in the road that I've had with my assistants, and how I went from 1 assistant to 5 in a very short time, like 6 weeks. So stay tuned, and I can't wait to share this journey with you. And it's something that I've become pretty passionate about. So if you have any questions, feel free to leave them below, and I will be sure to answer them, because These are great workers. If you've ever had an assistant, chances are you've never had somebody thank you for the day and thank you for the work. But if you have a Filipino assistant, you're probably going to get that every day. And I like it. It's pretty cool. They're a pleasure to work with. In some instances, I'm helping them make a better path for their lives too. So I enjoy it. I like the process of it, and I think that you will too. So any questions, by all means, please let me know. I'm happy to share any of my process with you. I know this is a very brief overview, but I will get to more information very, very soon. Thank you all. Thanks for watching.